Mark Schlereth, couple Super Bowls, 3 of them actually, and a 2-time Pro Bowler. He's been to almost every Bronco practice, which, by the way, Denver in the summer is unbelievable, so you're having a good time. So give me a little what that Denver offense is going to look like. I mean, we know that Russell moves the pocket. At his size, he likes to move the pocket. We know that with Kyler. What's it look like to you?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. One, I think identity is really important offensively, how you're going to run the ball, what it is that you're going to kind of hang your hat on. And, with Nathaniel Hackett, they really want to be a wide and tight zone football team and all the play action stuff, the boot keep stuff that comes off of that. And I always kind of qualify or classify play action into run action versus play pass. And so that's really what they're trying to become. And I think one of the things that you see through practice and you see through the preseason games, even though Russell Wilson didn't play, is we are going to be really good. At least we're going to try to be really good at running the ball, and we're going to stay committed to running the ball. And early in the preseason, they were averaging 2.5 yards a carry. They weren't very good at it, but they were getting their attempts. And I think that's really what becomes very important here. So you're going to see that identity of running the football. They've got 2 really good running backs in Gordon and obviously Javonte Williams. So this is a football team that's really going to hang their hat on that and then create that play action stuff for Russell to get outside of the pocket, to have those kind of half field reads and to take some deep shots.
You know, we said this in a couple of years, he's going to be making $55 million. So and they gave up a lot of draft capital to get him, first and second round picks. I love their GM, but you do put a little pressure on that front office when you give up those picks. They got to start finding starters, third round, fourth round, fifth round. It's pressure, and I'm sure Denver can do it because they do have a handful of excellent Patrick Surtain, the running back, the safety. They got some young stars. So would you be a little concerned that with this contract, it really puts the pressure on the front office to find some, for a lack of a better term, cheap labor over the next couple of years?
Well, I think that everybody deals with that, and I always say this about the salary cap. It's really not a hard cap. It's a soft cap. You can manipulate it. You can throw money into the future. You can do all those things that teams do to manipulate the cap. So I don't really worry too much about the cap. I think one thing that you have to do, regardless of how much draft capital you give up, you got to find guys in the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth round, even free agents that become stars on your football team because you have salary certainty out of those positions or out of those draft positions, if you will. So everybody has to do a good job with that because, 8, 10, 12 guys on your team make 60, 70% of the money. That's just the way the league is structured right now. So every team has to do a really good job with that. I think the other thing, when you have a franchise quarterback and you're going to win games, you become a destination spot for free agents. And it's not just the quarterback, or it's not just, hey, let's create a contract that we can manage over the next 4 years for the quarterback, but you'll get free agents that will say, hey, man, I'll take a little bit less to go to a place that is a destination spot in the National Football League that has a franchise type of quarterback and that has the potential of winning a championship. Getting in the playoffs, you get in the playoffs, who knows what's going to happen. So that's another big factor when you're rebuilding a team and you go after a franchise quarterback that you have to pay. You have to understand that other players that haven't had that situation, they're going to look to you as a destination spot. So that's what George Paton, the general manager of the Denver Broncos, is really counting on with Russell Wilson in the signing.
The 2 best rosters I saw this preseason were the Buffalo Bills, their weakness is the O-line, and the Niners. Outside of left tackle, their weakness is the O-line. So I'm going to ask you from a Niners standpoint. Offensive lineman. Would you rather have a guy who's a pocket guy, accurate, Garoppolo, or a young kid that if it breaks down, that can move like Trey Lance? Because the understanding with the Niners is fairly clear, Mark. Outside of left tackle, it's a pretty darn average O-line. What is the way to solve an average O-line? The mobile quarterback or the guy that gets it out quick and completes? Not a lot of stuff over the top, though.
Yeah, I think ultimately, to me, the guy who understands the offense, the guy that can manipulate and sit in the pocket, the guy that can get the ball out before a blitz has the opportunity to get there. I call it calling the 70-30 rule for me. And 70% of the time, as an offense, we need to operate on schedule. Meaning, we get our first down play and we get 6 yards or 5 yards, second down and 5, our whole playbook is open. Then we get it down to third down and 1 and we convert and we keep the chains moving. And being on schedule is really important. When you have a young quarterback who scrambles around that doesn't necessarily see those things right off the bat, and then holds the ball a little bit too long and has to be what I call a sight thrower, well, then you start operating on a 50-50 kind of principle. 50% of the time we're on schedule, but 50% of the time we're off schedule. You'll make 3 or 4 big plays off schedule, but you know what ultimately happens? You'll make 5 or 6 huge mistakes off schedule. And, you'll give up a strip sack fumble. You'll give up some of those issues. You don't have the protection in the pocket. You'll take a big hit. And then all of a sudden you allow the other team some momentum. Peyton Manning used to say this all the time: allow quiet victories, not loud celebrations. When you play off schedule, what you allow is loud celebrations, because even though you'll make some big plays, you'll give up that huge hit that just basically incites your opponent, and everybody feeds off of that. The next thing you know, momentum is completely switched around, and then you're losing a ball game. So those are the things you have to think about when you're playing that young quarterback.
So I kind of look at these young quarterbacks, like let's say Justin Fields in Chicago. Looks the part. Mm-hmm. Big, athletic, nice whip, can go. But what's happened over the last 10 years, I've seen this in high school, college, and pro, is that, the athletic quarterback doesn't necessarily work. It is still a distribution position, especially at pro football. That's why I always say Lamar Jackson's more accurate than anybody wants to acknowledge. I worry about Trey Lance's accuracy, Drew Lock's accuracy. Lamar's fine. I get 63%. So I kind of look at Justin Fields, and the O-line's not good. They have one legit receiver. It's a defensive head coach. So it's going to be choppy, Mark. It's going to be turbulent for Chicago. What will you have to see where you can go, all right, but this is going to work, because it's not going to be art. It's not going to be optically pleasing. It's just a really, really bad O-line with one legit receiver. He's going to get bracketed. What will you have to see in Chicago that you're like, boom, my stamp of approval, it's rocky, but it's going to work?
Yeah, I guess I would have to see them. I have to see them being able to control line of scrimmage, run the football, create some really easy play action stuff. See, one of the things about the play action stuff, a lot of times, you're almost having a one receiver type of route, one read. So it becomes very easy for the quarterback to say yes or no, and hey, yes, or just check down, or yes, or scramble out. I think the biggest thing for me with young quarterbacks, especially athletically gifted quarterbacks, Colin, is the default. Let's call it the default mechanism. The default mechanism for guys who are blessed with athleticism, great athleticism, is always usually athleticism. That's their default mechanism. And to truly be good at the quarterback position in the National Football League, your default mechanism has to be from the neck up. It has to be, hey, I got to get rid of the ball right now, or I got to throw it away, or whatever the case may be. But it's not, hey, let me escape and do something incredible. Because like I've said before, ultimately, you'll make a couple of incredible plays, but you'll get hurt, you'll get hit, you'll get a concussion. You don't have you become a running back when you do those things. And those are the issues that I have found to be true with default mechanism quarterbacks who always default toward athleticism as opposed to the understanding of the game. And the other thing that I think happens to them is they don't fully develop the true totality of the game, getting a global perspective on the game so they really understand everything that can happen to them. And that's when you have that supreme gift of athleticism. That's what guys have. They've always defaulted that all the way when they were Little League, Pop Warner, in the playground. I'm just a better athlete than you, so let me go do this. And you don't really develop as a quarterback. And I think that's one of the big issues for me when it comes to guys who are exceptionally gifted.
Yeah, that was always my knock on Big Ben, that he could just like make stuff. It was backyard football. And I never felt Big Ben at the line of scrimmage could compete with Peyton, Tom. He was obviously probably the biggest eighth grader, the biggest senior in high school. And I always thought with Big Ben is when you are given the gift, I never thought Ben, and I had people that, kind of knew the Steelers offense. I never felt Ben developed as a great line of scrimmage quarterback. So I do think it is something I'm going to keep my eye on all year because there's so many good young players. Is there a team, Jason and I were talking about this, we think Kirk Cousins getting an offensive coach, I think it's a bad division. I think Green Bay's not as good. I think Minnesota is my shock the league team, 12, 13 wins. Somebody's going to win 12 games and we're all going to be surprised. My guess is Minnesota. Do you have a team in the league that you just like more than a lot of other people do?
I don't know if I like them a lot more, but I've got Philadelphia at Detroit week 1. And let me just tell you, Philadelphia, both lines of scrimmage, what they've done with their wide receiving core, their tight end, Dallas Goedert, is one of the premier tight ends in the National Football League that nobody talks about. They went ahead. They've already had Darius Slay, who's a great matchup one-on-one corner, and they paired him with James Bradbury, who's also an undervalued corner. I think, and I look at what they've done, Hassan Reddick at the linebacker position. I think they have loaded up. Now, obviously, it comes down to, does Jalen Hurts mature? Second year, I think this is the first time he's been in the same offense back-to-back years. So does he mature? Does he grow? Does he become better? But you look at the talent level that the Philadelphia Eagles have. You look at their physicality. I think they probably have the best offensive line in the National Football League. I think they could do some pretty special things in Philadelphia. And, people get so enamored by Dallas. I think Philadelphia wins this division.
Yeah. Interesting team. Listen, Hurts is wildly productive. And every time I've saw him in college, he got better. Bama, Oklahoma. He got better first year to second. So Jalen Hurts is a fascinating player to watch. Mark Schlereth, Fox Sports, got the Eagles-Lions, a really captivating week 1 game. Great seeing you, bud.
Yeah. Likewise, Colin. Take care, buddy.
So we agree on that. Right, that's our agreement, right?
Yeah, Eagles-Lions is kind of spicy.
What's
Eagles
the number?
are favored on the road by 4.
Oh, I like Detroit. I like the number. I like
kind of got to take the points, right?
Yeah, if Philadelphia wins, it's close. I would take the points. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.